To I'll just start again. Hello and welcome to Coping with Donald. I'm Phil. It is Monday, February 9th, 2026. Last night was the Super Bowl. I hope you were a Seattle fan because if you are, your team won. So congratulations. And of course, the halftime show with Bad Bunny got 135 million viewers, and the Erica Kirk Kid Rock show got about 5 million viewers. And I didn't watch it. I didn't watch either of them. First of all, I don't like halftime shows. I never have. I never understood the fascination with them. That's just my own personal problem, apparently. Um, but I will say, hearing what other people said about the main concert, that Mr. Bunny apparently put out a message of unity, inclusivity, tolerance, caring about your neighbor, benevolent feelings. These are all things that Donald Trump hates. So it wasn't a big surprise when Donald Trump came out and said that Bad Bunny was horrible and he can't dance. Now, just keep in mind, remember when Trump dances to YMCA and he does what people call the double jerk off? Okay. And the Bad Bunny was not good for children to watch. That's not important, really, what Trump says or Megyn Kelly says, or for that matter, liberals say about it, really. The important thing, really, is that Trump shouldn't be concerned with that. I think America has enough problems, but I don't think he's concerned about America's problems, really. I just want to mention this right off the front. Um, Between 2000, the year 2000, the year 2024, the United States averaged about 180 measles cases per year. 180 per year. Last year, under Robert F. Kennedy Jr., there were 2,276 measles cases. And this year so far, just over a month, we have reported 733 measles cases. Now, just in this last month, that would be 6 years of the average between 2000 and 2024. Oh, I'm sorry. I did that wrong. 4 years worth. 180 times 4 would be 720, and we've had 733. Don't listen to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's just some sort of egotistical nut who wants to show people that he's right or his theories are better than real experts. Get your children immunized. Uh, One disturbing thing about Donald Trump is, we all know he would sell out his own grandmother, his own mother, his own children for money. And he is selling out the United States to other countries. Now, apparently, it's been reported, okay? It's been reported. That doesn't always mean it's true, but I will read to you what I heard. There's something called the Dmitriev Agreement. This is being pushed by Russia. Keep in mind, Russia has never backed off of what they want from this war. They've never said, okay, we'll pull our troops back to where they were and we'll pretend the war never happened and whatever. We want this, we want that, we want to crush Ukraine. And this has been negotiated by Jared Kushner and I think his first name is Steve Witkoff, the special negotiator, deal man for the Trump regime, that that Russia will do $12 trillion in trade with the United States in return for this, basically the surrender of Ukraine. I can imagine how Ukraine feels about that. But the joke really is on Trump if he sort of accepts that and then tries to get Ukraine to lose, which he is doing. Um, because the gross domestic product of Russia is 2 trillion a year. So that would mean that would be the 6 years of the entire gross domestic product, everything they produce, of Russia. So obviously, this would have to be a deal that's like over the course of, I don't know, 200 years. Um, what worries me, and when you look at Trump removing Maduro and then keeping Venezuela from sending any oil to Cuba so that they cannot have everybody die in Cuba, and that the fact that we've been an embargo of Cuba for what, 60 years now. He's trying to starve out the Cubans in essence, where nothing can go in. Okay, so he's trying to kill them with a lack of energy, a lack of food, a lack of everything, really. He considers that. Then he boasts about, oh, Cuba, they're falling apart. They're falling apart on their own. No, they're not falling apart on their own. Just so everybody knows this, they are falling apart because of our embargo and because of Trump not allowing them to have oil. And he doesn't care how many people suffer in Cuba. I think it's amazing that they're sending Cubans in the United States back to Cuba right now in order to suffer. But in essence, that's what he wants to do with Cuba. And in essence, that's what he wants to do with Ukraine. The United States has said now there is a shortage of interceptive missiles for the Patriot missile systems in Ukraine. We just don't have enough. That keeps the Russian missiles from blowing up Ukraine. Their missile intercepts. And Trump doesn't want to send them the missiles for the system. So he's saying, which is probably another Trumpian lie, because he lies about everything, uh, we can't give them to you right now, which makes Ukraine very vulnerable. And many people will die. Thank you, Mr. President Peace Prize. He is reshaping the world, or wants to reshape the world, so that there are only a few major dictators. The country might still exist in name, such as Cuba, but the dictator will control it. He, of course, wants the Western Hemisphere. He probably wants 2 or 3 in the East. Remember years ago when the most conservative among us, the most conservative people, maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, were saying, we don't want the New World Order. We don't want other countries telling us what to do. However, Trump seems to want a New World Order as long as there's 4 dictators, and he's one of them. That's my opinion, okay? My opinion. But he is hanging the Ukrainians out to dry. Now, fortunately, at the same time, Elon Musk has refused to allow the Russians to use Starlink in Ukraine. That has screwed up their ability to have knowledge about where troops are what kind of danger their own troops are in, things along those lines. One might wonder why Musk did that at this time. Is it because the Epstein Files are out and he's mentioned 1,400 times already? So he figures, well, I pissed off at the Russians. They had compromat on me, and so I am going to pay him back. Or that he wants to put SpaceX up in a public auction. I'm sorry, not a public auction. He wants to sell stock in SpaceX at an initial auction. And he wants to get as much money as he can because he's apparently in some sort of financial difficulty. He wants to get it while the getting's good, and there's still enough dumb people out there who think that he's going to put robots on Pluto or whatever he's talking about this week. And, in his wonderful style of, like, I think that we should have total automation and total integration between robots and humans so that, you know how he talks. But anyway, at least it's helping Ukraine for now. I am a big supporter of Ukraine, and I admire the Ukrainian armed forces. It's easy to win when you have superior forces, although it hasn't been easy for Russia, apparently. I hope that Trump, yeah, I mean, let's face it, he was finger wagging at Zelensky in the Oval Office. He was telling his people, we don't want to send money to the Ukrainians. And a lot of people really do go for not sending money to the Ukrainians. But it's their army dying instead of ours. We should be grateful to them. Finally, maybe there isn't a finally. Let me pause and find out. I don't really have a finally. But I do want to mention that the movie Melania, there's reports that Army soldiers are being told you have to go see the Melania movie, that group tickets were being bought. People weren't really attending it, but group tickets are being bought just to make it look like people care about Melania. Uh, Overseas, in the first weekend, the movie grossed $110,000. AKA, nobody wanted to see it. And nobody really feels like watching Melania pick out dresses and hats and things like that. I saw one where one German podcaster said that what he learned from Melania was how you look when you take a Chinese wok and you put it upside down over your head, which is what he called the hat that Melania won at the or wore at the famous inauguration, which that's going to go down as one of the worst fashion choices in history. Well, this has been Coping with Donald. Obviously, it's hard to cope today. Donald's knocking our Olympic um, athletes who don't feel like kissing his butt. And like I said, those really aren't the important things. Watch the money. The corruption in this administration is unbelievable. But he's selling out pieces of the United States, not physical pieces, but ability of the United States to prosper in the future. He is selling that out to receive money. I mean, it's the most obvious for a man who talked about the swamp and for people who talked about the swamp to totally give up on all their positions about the swamp, about states' rights, about guns, about everything. They are totally capitulating to keep loving Trump. And he lied about everything that he said 10 years ago that was important because it's not important to him. You're not important to him. This has been Coping with Donald. I'm Phil. Have a good day. Please subscribe. Hey, we're up to 27. Woo! Thank you, and have a good night.